Hi there, it's Shauna. I'm passionate about pages and I have just finished making 2 each of the projects that come in the birthday sparkle kit from Stampin' Up. So they're just divine, two little tags and then 2 really gorgeous cards, just simple, classic, elegant. I think they'll be great for guys or girls. And I do have supplies for 1 more of each, but I'm itching to do what I've seen so many demonstrators do and convert these leftover pieces into a double page scrapbook layout. I've recently returned from a trip to Melbourne to celebrate my little grandson's first birthday, and it was held in a park. And so I think the browns and soft colours of this one will work really well with the photos that I have. And here's what I've got left over. I've got like a full kit to make up this card and a full kit to make up this card. These 3 pieces are what popped out of that panel, and they weren't used on any of the projects, so I thought, oh, I can probably bring those in. I've got 2 envelopes left, and I ended up with a couple of extra balloons more than were used on the cards. That gives me a lot to work with. Now, in terms of what papers I want to blend with this, because it was in the park, I'm keen to bring in some of the gold and green, or green and gold papers. Look at these, aren't they pretty? To go with it. But because you know, it's going to be fairly busy, I've decided not to use the busier patterns, and I don't think the lines work. And then this one is maybe a little bit dark for me, so I'm going to go with this leafy pattern that I'll use on there somewhere. And then on the opposite sides of all of these papers are patterns with gold embossing or you know, green tones printed onto them. Again, I don't want to be busy, so I'm taking those out, and I've used most of this one on another project. But this, I think, it's not sparkly. It's just got the, I think they're the, you know, one of the dark greens dots on them, and then it's got like a mottled treatment in vanilla mixing to it. So I think those 2 will tie in really nicely. Okie dokie, here's a bit of a mud map. So I've cut the green piece down to a 5.5-inch panel and a 6-inch panel, because I realized on the back of that was this really pretty diamond foiled element. And I think that if I cut that into 1/4-inch strips, that will be a nice transition piece between the green and the very vanilla cardstock. So that will just break that up. Then I was thinking, oh, it could be fun to have the envelope open and like balloons coming out of it, which would be really cool. I don't get to see the back of it, so I'm going to cut that off and turn it round so that gold shows there. But I think I'm going to pop a couple of little 3-inch square photos in here as though they're coming out, because the photos I'm using on here are of, you know, the cake part of the birthday celebration. So that will be kind of cute. You know, I'm sure there'll be close-ups of him with his cake. And then that one can go on there, and this will be the perfect spot to add my journaling, my story. Now these 3 little pieces, I've discovered they will be perfect for holding 2 by 3-inch photos. And when you have a standard photo, it's 4 inches wide by 6 inches long. If you imagine an X on there, you can print 4 photos on there which are that size. Then moving over to here, another couple of those, that kind of mimics that placement there. So then I think I'll have another photo here. I don't know, I think no, maybe a vertical photo. Maybe bring in photo there, and this could be like a big photo. You know, maybe the birthday boy with his mummy and daddy, something like that there. And then this can be my title cluster, because I think this will work really well, and the little sentiment that we can stamp on it from the stamp set says Happy Cake Day. So that's why I'm doing the cake photos here. That will work really well. And then I had a look at this one. I'm like, oh, there's 5 candles on it though, and it's his first birthday. So what I'm actually going to do is fussy cut around this so that there's only 1 candle on it, because the back of this card still has that pattern on it, and I can put the cake on this side. Alrighty, so that's the plan. That's flipped and turned around. This is put together. Now in the original there are little toothpicks included in the kit, but they're quite lumpy bumpy. So what I did was took some of the scraps from popping out the die cuts and cut my own little stick for the star there. So that will go down there. I've added those. I've put just 1 candle on this one as well. This is how the panel with 1 candle turned out, and when you compare it to this one, you know, the 5 candles completely filled the screen. So to make up for that, I used the little weenie stamp that comes with the set to fill in a background. So I think that works okay, and that will go there. Now, in terms of the balloons, this is what I've got left over in the kit, but I feel like we need a bit more balloon action happening. And remember I said that I thought I was going to use this green spot paper. So I think they will make some great balloons to fill in some extra spaces. And then the other place I was thinking of using these was as photo mats. For the 3 large photos, and I think that will definitely work. I think they're going to be like 1/4 inch mats so that you can actually see the dots, because if I bring them in smaller, it's not going to be as effective. But it looks like, you know, 2 rows of dots is about 1/4 inch, and that I'll be able to center these down. So I'll want, I'll probably get the 2 vertical ones this way and the horizontal one in that spot, and then that will still give me quite a bit of paper left over here. I can, if I need to, I can gut the back of these to cut my balloons. Okie dokie, so this side is all stuck down and I'm happy with that. What I've done is I've put a very slim border, like a 1/16 of an inch border between the photo and the spotted mat, and I just matched up. In Stampin' Up, it's the Mossy Meadow cardstock, and if you've got some New England Ivy with Close to My Heart, that would do as well. But that's a perfect, you know, that's one of the colours in this pack, because when the photo is just beside it, I think it might get a bit lost. The balloons, I've added in some spotty balloons in here, and I used some of my leftover candle flames that I would have needed for the other candles to make the little shiny things on the balloons. And I'm going to show you how I've done that when I'm putting together the second page. So I just wanted to show you that the back of this spotty paper is just gorgeous. I decided to gut my mount. I don't always do that, but I decided to gut it this time because I will definitely be able to use this, these small pieces on other projects because they're just beautiful. I've added just one candle to the little tag, so that's all good. Now I cut off flap. Remember that was going to go like that, and when I opened it, you wouldn't see the gold. So by cutting it, I'll be able to just bring that in there. And now I'm working on this balloon cluster. To get the balloons the same size, I went through and I had a couple of balloon die cuts, but they were both much smaller than these ones. So all I did was take one of them and lightly trace the shape onto the spots. And then they're really easy to fussy cut. Just come up, because on these ones the little knot is quite narrow. So cut inside your lines there and across, and then just cut either right on the line or just inside the line, and that way you don't have to erase anything afterwards. And remember, because we traced around the outside of the craft balloon, if we cut outside the line, these ones will be slightly larger, which isn't the end of the world, but you know, if you're a matchy girl like I am, that's moderately important to you. Okay, so I'm going to have this one coming off a little bit. That will sit about there, and I'm going to have this one disappearing behind the envelope. Now in the cards that you make for this one, the balloon has words stamped on it, but I've already used those same words in the tag that's going on the page. So I thought I would just make these a little bit shimmery. I'm using a Close to My Heart shimmer brush. If you don't own one of these, what you need to look for on the Stampin' Up website is Wink of Stella, and it's clear shimmer brush. So all I need to do is paint over the top of it, and that will make that nice and shiny. Okay, and I think that little bit of accent of white will be quite all right on there. Now on the other side, I've put in strings onto my balloons. Strings onto my balloons. So just let me show you how easy that was to do. When you have the string on the stamp, ink that up, place your balloons where you think they're going to end up. I'm going to overlap on the white ones so that it's not as much white coming through. And what I'm trying to make sure is that the little tie bit for the balloons, the lines coming off it aren't going to go over each other. All right, and all you need to do is move that one out of the way and stamp this so that it'll disappear a little bit under the balloon. You don't need a string on this one because that's going under the envelope, but I will need to move that out of the way for this one. Oopsie. And you'll continue on like that until you've got all of the lines stamped. Then come in with teeny tiny glue dots and the pokey end of your pickup tool. Pick up one little glue dot, put it at the top of the line and one at the bottom of the line. Just make sure, so this one just comes to the underneath the envelope top. If it doesn't come underneath the envelope top, just drop your glue dot down a little bit because we're covering this line, so that's okay. You know, you don't have to put the glue dot on the line. We're just using that to help us get the string where we need it to be. Then you are going to put the top of the string on that one and the bottom on that one and trim it off, and then move over to this one, and you'll go through and do that on each of the balloons. And you know, quite honestly, the black line hardly shows on top of the print, so if your string's showing a tiny bit of the black line, it's not going to be the end of the world. And can you see there, then you can play, like you can adjust how high up the balloons are for what you need, okay, when that's done. Yeah, when you get to the browner ones, they were the ones that were we used a stamp on them. So I'm just going to bring in my little mat here and find, oops, so that if any of the ink goes beyond the balloon, it's not going to go onto my mat and transfer to my pages. So you just stamp over it. And the other one I'll do in a stripe. Actually, I'll probably do both of these in stripes because I've got dots there, so I can just turn that over and use the other side. So if you're using this idea with other balloons that you own, you might have different patterns you can stamp onto your balloons. Okay. There we go. So you just go through and finish off all the strings, and then the last thing you want to do, or you can do it before you glue them down, is add the little highlight here. So I ended up with quite a number of the flames left over. They obviously gave extras in case you wanted to put more on. So let me show you on this one. So that's like the shape of what you're going to get. So all you need to do is just cut on this side a little bit and on this side a little bit so that you get the curve that you can use. And I do it while it's on the backing paper. They're not all going to be the same, and that is just fine. That'll be one, and then I'm going to come in from the other side. Because I've picked this one off, it's going to be a bit slippy slidey. And there. That one's there. So I can just pop that up on the edge there. All right. Definitely don't have to do this step, but I was like, oh, I've got the bits of gold. And if I can use them instead of storing them, that will be a bonus. Oopsie. I do like this little pokey tool for this sort of thing. So that will just make them look a little bit different. Alrighty, and here's the finished layout. So I'm really happy with that. A couple of things I added extra was that I used the tiny little confetti stamp, just random stamped along the top and the bottom on the very vanilla cardstock, because I just felt it needed something there. And I auditioned like plain cardstock and printed cardstock, and it was all too heavy, but I was really happy with that. And then the other thing that I've done is once I put the balloons down, I added just a few, what are they called, iridescent gems to finish it off. So I'm really happy with that layout. It gets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 photos on it. So I think that will be plenty for first birthday cake blowing and cutting. Hope you like it. As I said, this is from the Birthday Sparkle card kit that you can purchase on my website. If you liked this video, be sure to like and subscribe so you see more. Bye for now.